Good morning and welcome to the program Perspectives. This morning on the program Perspectives, we'll be looking at Nigeria today. And again, when we talk about Nigeria today, the many issues of Nigeria. And of course, we all do know that more than any other time, Nigeria could be said to be going through her own trying times. And so, what got us here and how are we to get out of it are all issues to discuss on the program Perspectives this morning. I'm doing a long distance call, and this is to Jos in Plateau State, where I'll be talking with the former Minister of Youth and Sports, Barrister Solomon Dalong. My guest this morning by phone, and we'll be looking at Nigeria today. Barrister Solomon Dalong, good morning and glad to have you on our show.
Good morning, listeners, and thank you for the opportunity.
I'd like to take you back, the barrister, and this is to take you back to 2015 and even before then. I am privy to this. I met you on several occasions. I've talked to you, and there's so much passion that you exhibited in the Buhari campaign organization, where you wanted President Muhammadu Buhari to come on board, and all because of change that was, told Nigerians then that there could be change for better days, better things, better life, and now all Nigerians were up to it with this, El Dorado, as it is, that the government then promised Nigerians. 8 years, moving into it, the life of this administration, you had come to say that, in fact, to give an apology that, Nigerians should understand and forgive that this administration had not delivered and that the APC government had not delivered to what it had promised Nigerians. And coming from you on that, could you share your thoughts with us where you see this failure, so to say, and disappointments that the Nigerian people, have been faced with?
Well, in politics, our democracy is built on partisan politics. As you being a member of a political party, elections are contested on the platform of political parties. Now, the political parties present to Nigerians their manifestos, and the manifestos are the indices upon which you can measure the failure or the performance of government. So, for us in the APC, our mantra was change, and this change is encapsulated into three things. We are going to tackle insecurity. We promised Nigerians we are going to fix the economy. We also assured Nigerians, given the opportunity, we will declare an unprecedented war with corruption and ensure that corruption is decimated to, a dysfunctional level. So these were the promises we made, and on the strength of these promises, Nigerians did not only support us with their votes, but people went out of their way to make financial contributions, apart from other commitments. Nigerians demonstrated that they believe in us because in 2015, during our electioneering campaigns, if we were going, for example, like when we were going to Bauchi, there were people who trekked 7 days. It took them 7 days to come and wait for us. And when we landed in Bauchi, there was a huge risk because people were running after the aircraft of the president. So these were the investment Nigerians put in our campaigns and their confidence and belief. So 7 years after, we now have to reflect and pick those promises we made to Nigeria and as a checklist and begin to score them objectively. So if we take security, we now have insecurity. It has escalated beyond what we met. Even though we succeeded in returning some stability in the Northeast, it's not yet over there. We recovered the 21 local governments under the control of the insurgency, but some today are still under the control. They've returned to the possession of the insurgency. And then we have another different dimension into it. The escalation of the farmer herders crisis, which degenerated into very serious violent conflicts, leading to killings, displacement, and relocation of communities. And then you have cattle rustling coming in. And from the criminality of cattle rustling, we now advance into what we call banditry, which has now taken a devastating dimension in the Northwest, dislocating people from their settlement, kidnapping, raping, maiming, killings of innocent people. Even agriculture, which is the mainstay of the northern region now, has dropped considerably to below 50 because people can't go to farm because of insecurity. You are not sure whether from this point to this point you can move safely. I mean, in 2019, I campaigned moving around the north. I didn't use any aircraft. I campaigned on the roads. But from 2019 till now, traveling from Abuja to Kaduna or just to Kaduna as it were, I mean, it's something I can only afford after very many days of fasting and praying before I will embark on such trips. So with this, you cannot say security, we have succeeded in it or we perform. You take economy. I mean, the degeneration in the economic sector, you can use, the commonest indices, which is the Naira, the value of the Naira versus the dollar. I mean, the Naira has completely fallen. You take hunger and poverty, and people are poorer than 2015. But I'm not saying this because I don't like my party. I like my party, I like the president. But this is the situation. I have a friend who in 2015, when we went to campaign in Katsina, he was the one who fed us. And when we were leaving, he gave us money to fuel our car. But 3 weeks ago, I called him and he was telling me that he could not afford to feed his family and that he has abandoned the family. Every day he moves out of the house and go and hang out at a common gathering venue, which they call Majaleta, until late in the night before he will sneak in. This is not a lazy man. This is somebody who by 2015 he was living okay. Today he can't afford to feed. We have so many of Nigerians that found themselves in that situation. So economy, you see again, you cannot, when you take the checklist, you cannot say we have done very well there. Then you come back to war against corruption. I mean, there was somebody, this one I can just give an illustration, whether we have succeeded or not. I mean, there was somebody in 2016 when we came in, I was a minister in the cabinet. And Magu was the chairman of EFCC. We saw on television, he went to his lodge and removed boxes of dollars he stashed. That person today is a born-again APC member and is a minister in the cabinet. The case of that corruption is unheard of. Take the recent thing that happened in NDDC during the COVID-19, where, 81 billion was spent in 3 months. And then the National Assembly went into it, and you saw the drama, the corruption drama that went into the National Assembly. Today nobody is talking about that. Nothing is heard of that. And so many other cases. Now we have also tried to recover what we call loot from so many people. If this loot as it is, and the figure rolled out by the Attorney General of the Federation as recovery, I congratulate him for recovering. But if we have recovered such huge amount of monies in dollars, in hard currency, why are we still borrowing and borrowing religiously? Where is that money? Can we give account of what we have recovered? Can we come out and now publish an account of how that money is spent? If we have not done that, it means we've not passed the transparency test, and which is the foundation upon which corruption, war against corruption is evaluated. So we've not done so much about this. But this is not to say that we have not tried in our own way, except that our effort modestly is below the expectation we created to Nigerians.
Barrister Solomon Dalong, I like to bring you to this article. It was written in the Financial Times, and the African edition of it, David Pilin, the editor, had written about President Muhammadu Buhari, saying that he had overseen 2 terms of economic slum, rising death, and calamitous increase in kidnapping and banditry. Now, is the presidential aides or from the presidency, they're still struggling, denying, and of course still struggling to turn it around. But you've been there as a minister. You saw what had happened, and what you're reeling out today would show disappointment. And again, can one go to the extreme to say it's just failure that Nigerians had seen? Would you say this is again failure of leadership?
Well, let me take it from the perspective of denial. I think denial on the side of government is not good enough. If government cannot tell its citizens the truth, then truth as a value will nowhere be found anywhere. Government must own up when things go wrong and assure the citizens that it's going to take steps to ensure that it never repeats itself again. Why we found ourselves into most of this very terrible situation is, the managers of the public relations and communications of the president suddenly had designated themselves as attack dogs, and Nigerians are the enemies. So if any Nigerian complains, they come out and try to attack him, debase and demean him. Even when the person complaining is a victim of a particular wrongdoing, they take the posture of denial and attacks, which is the worst you can have in the office of any president anywhere in the world, because their languages are unpresidential. Their languages are supposed to be presidential. They are supposed to speak for the president and stand with Nigerians. They will speak for the president but stand with Nigerians, because those are the people we are serving. So that is another cake completely of a different scenario of how they have been able to manage communications. Their denial of realities is so appalling, disgusting. It contributed, in escalating the disdain and dislike people have for a highly cherished president with charisma, because his men have reduced his personality to controversy between president versus his people, Nigerians. So that one is different. I think the report coming from outside, I'm not an economist, so I may not be too competent enough to technically evaluate some of these statements. But things I see around me happening, which I can attribute it to the management of the economy. I definitely know that, things economically were not doing well. And, the head of the economic team of Nigeria is the vice president. He is constitutionally the chairman of the National Economic Council. The body saddled by law with the responsibilities of managing the economy, mobilizing the stakeholders, the state and non-state actors in the economy industry to try to build, to reposition and build a robust economy. So the vice president, who is now the chief economic advisor of the president on economic management, and also the president now has a monitoring team, which is the economic management team. Now the economic management team is the president's angle to how he will now oversee and try to collaborate efforts by the National Economic Council and his office to ensure that we have robust economic development. So, in the past 7 years, all the economic policies that have rolled out, I know some of them have been successful, some have failed even on consumption. Let me take an example of how we were able, to pull the country out of recession in 2016. When I came in as a minister, Nigeria was in recession. Throughout 2016, the monthly subvention released to ministries, we only had it 5 times instead of 12 times in 2016. I was using my personal car as an official car throughout the 4 years. In 2016, I had to borrow 50 million from my friend to camp Team Nigeria in preparation for Olympics in 2016. So these were a very terrible economic situation on the ground. But with hard work and dedication, we were able to pull Nigeria out of recession and move the country to record 2.7 economic growth. But there are statistics being rolled out now, which I cannot confirm. But the objective reality on the ground does not seem to tally or agree with what is happening. So we're not doing, economically, we're not doing too well.
All right, Honorable and Barrister Solomon, there's another angle here, and you are deeply involved in this, and that's a youth group under the aegis of Rescue Nigeria Youth Solomon Dalong Foundation. They've called on the youth to take advantage of their mobilizing strength to vote in a young person below 60 years as president in 2023 to rescue the nation or the country from the current maladministration. Now, just going through that and what your foundation stands for, is it an indictment on, the old in our society? And of course, when we're talking about the old, what age, what will we be looking at? Should it be a man from 70 up? Because here, you're also saying that, anyone that will come, on the saddle now should be within in his 60s. Yeah. And so the president is well over going to his 80 and all of that. So is it an indictment on the old in our society?
Yes, it's a vote of no confidence on the older generations, because the older generations had it wonderful and perfect, near perfect, when they were growing up. Some of us met remnants of the good old days of Nigeria. So why has it been impossible for them, just to replicate what was done to them for the younger generation? I don't want to exonerate myself. I have consigned myself with the generation of the old and championing that nobody who is 60 and maybe 65 should not contest the presidency of Nigeria in 2023.
Why?
You see, because with we failed to build a future for the younger generation. So we cannot squander their future. We cannot squander the future of our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren effortlessly claiming to be building a future for them when indeed there is no future. So I believe that we should hand over their future to them. Let them make it or might. If they build a better future, they celebrate. If they fail, they have themselves to blame. I don't want, after long I would have gone, my great-grandchildren will mobilize to my grave and dance insulting me that this is a very wicked generation that has squandered their future. They enjoyed their future. They squandered our own. We have failed. If we have not failed, from 1999 till date, we have not been able to tackle unemployment. From 1999 till date, where we were accusing the military, give us way, we have been unable, to come up with an educational system, the content of our educational system, to reflect our dream civilization. From 1999 till date, the only effort we are making towards dealing with poverty is to accept and legislate that our people are poor, and that all that we can do is to buy a paper and give them motorcycle or water pumping machine. From 1999 till date, it's very shameful that we go to the market square, to share 5,000 in the name of traders' money to Nigerians, when we even know that 5,000 cannot even pay transportation. If somebody is going to travel, like from Jos to Kaduna, you cannot take him and bring him back. But we do that to satisfy our political ego. So, if we have not been too honest and sincere to build a future for these young people, we should quit the stage. There is a place created for us by the Constitution, which is the Senate. And we should all gravitate towards the Senate or aspire to go to be appointed special advisors so that we can give these young people who are now, technologically sophisticated. They've already created in their brains the type of society they want to build. They may not all be good, but there are, quite a large number of patriotic and good young Nigerians that should be given the opportunity to lead this country while we support them. So we should stop this recycling game. And I want to appeal to our religious leaders. Let them pray against this spirit of recycling of leadership. We have failed. I went to secondary school when I was admitted in 1977. All that my parents did was to buy a box for me and a towel. Everything I needed was provided to me by government. The first voucher I signed in my life was transport money provided for me by government when I was returning from school to come home. The type of food I ate in secondary school, I can only see something similar to it when I go to places like Transcorp. Why can't we do this for this generation? We may argue that, population. This very criminal argument that the population is has exploded. And we are not talking about how the revenue has exploded. So it's a very, very insincere way of dealing with issues. So I think the best is to advise my generation. I'm 57. I'm also disqualified. For the purpose of the advocacy I'm championing, I'm disqualified. Let us allow them. I'm ready to support any young man, to work for any young man. I'm ready to even take the job of a messenger if that will help him to transform this country. To be his messenger. Let the young man transform the country so that I can live happily, I can live peacefully, I can live better. Not to wake up every day with people sending you texts, we cannot feed, we are in the hospital, they have taken over this thing, bandits have done this, is it what you promised us, is it what you campaigned? Every day these are the messages coming. I must tell myself the truth that we have not done well. If anybody thinks that we should be political about it, that is his business. If anybody thinks that, oh, we should not be talking because we are no more in offices, let him go and stop the killing. Anybody who thinks that, oh, Solomon Dalung is no more in offices, that's why he's talking. I'm ready to stop talking if you can stop the killing. Once you stop the killing, I will stop. And if the killing is going on and you are now asking me, let me tell you, if you ask me now, oh, come and be this, I will not accept it. I will prefer you going to stop the killing so that I can be able to relate easily with people I know. I can be able to move freely and do whatever I want to do. I'm a peace advocate. I love moving around, try to engage people, discuss with people, negotiate with people, and try to bring them together so that we can build a strong country. I can't do that now. Bandit will just capture me.
The program is Perspectives, and it's coming to you on Invicta 98.9. And this morning, we are sharing thoughts with a former Minister of Youth and Sports, Barrister Solomon Dalung. We'll be back, after this commercial break.
Invicta FM.
We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. Are you serious? Invicta FM.
Welcome back. It's the program Perspectives this morning, and with us as guest by phone, I have former Minister of Youth and Sports, Barrister Solomon Dalung. And we're talking about Nigeria today, and we're seeing what is coming out of the Nigerian nation. Barrister, I'd just like to take you back. Again, I'm making a reference to this Financial Times article. David Pilin, the African edition of it, had talked about, what it would take to get a president, on seat for Nigeria. And of course, now that the political turf has been declared open, we're beginning to see them from all nooks and crannies of the country expressing their presidential ambition to rule Nigeria. And a while ago, we were talking about corruption. Now, in that time, he had said that to have a president for Nigeria, one would require, the tune of $2 billion. Now, $2 billion. And some people would be the ones to, put this money down. And of course, people putting their money down would also require, would want to recoup their money again. Is this a problem with our elections in this country? That again is not. You've talked about these young ones. How do you get the young ones to even buy forms, to express or show that they are interested when astronomical as it is, getting election forms, and of course, the seat of the president with $2 billion and recouping is just not a leeway for corruption to continue.
Well, the irony with the Nigerian society is that we are experts in generalization. So we just bad people will always tell you that no, everybody is bad. They are doing that because they are doing it as a cover-up for their own wrongdoings. There are young people in this country, some of them I know, some I don't know, that has been successful. In fact, there is one that I know that is successful. And at 50, he has stopped working for himself. He's never done any government contract in his life. He has never worked in government. I mean, he's not the Federal Republic of Nigeria billionaire. Because majority of the rich people in this country are our Commonwealth billionaires. These young people just work very hard, both from within and outside the country. And they have, at least, modestly, what it takes to contest this election. The issue of billions we are hearing in elections is part of the corruption. You don't need as much as that. If you have not forgotten, common Nigerians contributed. If Buhari's campaign organization can publish how much was generated from fellow Nigerians who supported our campaign, it will help us very well to understand what is happening. You see, this issue of investment and recouping in campaigns is usually the intrigues of the money bags who have vested interest in government. So they watch the pendulum where it swings. If they identify the direction of the pendulum, they will rush there and put their money so that they can be seen to be part of it. And if the person is elected, he sees them as somebody who supported them and therefore will not move against their interest. That is the intrigue there or the game there. We don't need as much as these 2 billion you're talking about. Most of these billions are shared between the money bags and then political urban guerrillas who have monetized electioneering campaigns. This money does not trickle down to the common people. If you want to, confirm what I'm saying, you go to the polling booths during elections. What is given there is 200 naira. The highest is 5. 1,000 for agents. So if billions are shared in Transcorp and in my polling unit, Sabangida area code polling unit, they are sharing 500 naira and 200 naira, making the common people to sell 4 years for 200 naira or 500 naira, the worst business I've ever seen in life. And that's why I blame the common people, because they sell their future as cheap as 200 naira. So all these ones, this money, these bogus figures are just to accommodate the greed of the political elite. Oh, before I support you, you must give me this. Let me also tell you that in Nigeria, before you succeed a sitting governor, you will give a bribe of not less than 7 billion before you are endorsed. Go and embark on journalistic investigation all over. You will discover that in only few places where the governors just endorsed their successor. But in most cases, you must put as much as 7 billion in the name of campaign, which goes to the pocket of your predecessor. So this is what explains this figure, but these figures are not real. The young people, we have young people who can afford to buy the form, who can run a modest campaign and mobilize Nigerians. It is not about money. It's about mobilizing Nigerians. Once you get the people on your side, just like the president did, and try to tell yourself the truth, that even if somebody gives you central bank while campaigning, it doesn't stop you from going or moving against him if the law moves against him. If I'm going to campaign as a president, if you give me central bank, I will collect. But it does not stop me from implementing the law if it is against you. It doesn't. Because it's not an agreement that once I'm elected, you are immune from the law. No. So I don't know why people who collect money win elections and then get themselves wrapped up into a very messy, contaminated environment contaminated by corruption. No. That is not the issue. So I encourage young people, to show interest. Let them come out. Let them team up. Let them defeat us. Let them use their might to defeat us. They are educated. We cannot build their future. Let them take over. If they destroy it, they have themselves to blame.
So again, our program is Perspectives, and if you're joining us on this conversation, you can also be with us on our Facebook page, 98.9. We're streaming live with this program. Quickly, just before I get the audience to be part of this conversation, I'd just like to ask you this, Barrister Solomon Dalong, that it is not about it is not about leadership, may not be the problem, but the administration, nature of administration is the problem with the Nigerian situation. Do you share this thought?
I disagree completely. Nigerians are very, very good people. Nigerians are people very, very tolerant. They can, persevere in very harsh conditions. What is happening in Nigeria cannot happen anywhere. So let us not just indict our people because we are trying to insulate ourselves from our failures as leaders.
Okay, Barrister, quickly, this is just is off course, so to say, but I like to chip it in because you were once there as the Minister of Youth and Sports. Nigerians, appearance, so to say, at the AFCON, just concluded AFCON, and every hope had been that Nigeria would come home or come back home with the cup, but again, disappointed along the way. Could you have your thoughts about what may just have been wrong with poor performance of Nigeria?
You see, Nigerians are very, very passionate about sports and football especially. But Nigerians are not meticulous in following up developments in the football administration. When the team was camping, I told somebody that we will be sacked at the technical stage. We're going to do very, very well in the first rounds, but we'll be knocked out and we'll return home. So he asked me, why are you not so unpatriotic that you are wishing Nigeria that bad? And I said, oh no, I am just Dean Solomon Dalong. I said, that's why I'm not a good man. Because I say things the way I see them. And it displeases many.
And you're a politician. And you're a politician.
Yes. And I'm a politician. And my politics is to say it the way it is, whether you like me or not. So he asked me what will happen, and I told him, look, the team will fight very hard. But every oath against Nigeria advancing beyond the second stage has been effectively put on ground. And as an insider, I have seen those things. I said, number one, I will not go into the other one with you. Number one, do you realize that FIFA was against the hosting, CAF organizing that championship? And the Nigerian Football Federation leaders, we are with FIFA. They supported FIFA that CAF should not organize that championship. So when they lost the battle, they now surrender and went. I said, let me tell you, a lot is going to happen in the boardroom, and Nigeria will be humiliated. And it came to pass. Number two, we have a very good coach who mobilized the players, and for the first time, he returned Nigeria to our football style of playing from the wings. But the internal obstacle mounted on the ground were insurmountable. And so their best could not overcome it, and they have to crash out. There are so many things that is done in football administration, that however successful a team is, it will be eliminated. We lost out in the World Cup, not because we were playing well. We're not playing well. No. But because we went to the World Cup with about, from both Nigeria and outside, with a supporters base of less than 5,000 people. Argentina, which we met, came to Russia with a supporters base of 50,000 people. They were even buying tickets from Nigerians at 5,000 to go in. So the political economy of sports has to be deployed in judgment to decide who to remain and who to go. Because if you keep Nigeria, you're only going to have a support base of 3,000 to 5,000. while Argentina has over 50,000, that you can keep them and sustain them. So everything will usually be deployed in the boardroom to eliminate who will eliminate and who will stay. That worked against us. And there are other technical issues that we cannot even share here or there that also played in for us. But I think our lessons are well learned, and we may make corrections from there.
Okay. All right. I'll have my lines opened now. And to the audience there, be part of this conversation. And on our Facebook too, join us there. Drop your lines there. We'll take it on. And numbers to call to be part of it, 081 40,000 989, 081 40,000 989, or 070 87 800 989. 070-87-800-989. And sharing thoughts with us this morning is a former Minister of Youth and Sports, Barrister Solomon Dalong. We're taking your calls now. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
This is Madaki calling from Marabarido.
Madaki, all right, from Marabarido.
I remember in 2014 and 15, I listened to this very guest today when he was portraying the present government as the light. What has gone wrong that he is reversing now and talking maybe against the government? This is where the problem is. Can he explain to us what happened that time, between that time and now, that has made him to reverse gear?
Okay. All right, Madaki, I got you. Let me squeeze in one or two calls and I'll get back to the barrister. Hello, good morning.
God bless Mr. Tonga.
Good morning.
You are on to Engineer Emmanuel.
Engineer Emmanuel.
And I welcome your guest. My question to him is this. Will he assess this administration that they have performed or they have failed the country? That's number one. Then number two, just like this caller say, I don't know why they can't tell Mr. President the truth where he has gone astray, that they should bring him light, because they are there and they were singing his praise. We still see people that are in office today, despite the fact there is a failure, they are still singing the praise of Mr. President. Why is it like this?
Okay.
Now,
right.
For example,
Engineer Emmanuel, I just got your questions. I have little time. Let me take your questions to Barrister. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, my name is Sunday. I'm calling from television.
Sunday.
Happy to be part of your program this morning. I want to appreciate the guest for speaking well to us, because we need people like him to speak whenever things are going wrong. So I want to appreciate his courage, because they are doing what they are supposed to do as elite. I appreciate Victor. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sunday. Barrister Solomon.
Yeah.
Okay, let me start with Madaki. Madaki, took me back, saying that I listened to you in 2015 or before that, how you sang the praise of the president to high heavens, that he was the light, that he could do all. Why have you changed gear? He's asking that now. And Engineer Emmanuel also came, also wants to know about that too. Why, why is it that the president can't have people around him tell him the truth of what is happening here? Why, this emperor-citizens relationship, why is that so? And of course, Sunday, coming from the rear, appreciates your courage, for speaking the truth and for your support. On our Facebook, okay, quickly, what's coming down from the Facebook there?
All right, we have from Eto Uwa Father Jesus says, good morning, watching you from Maiduguri. Rose Ray says, Nigeria today as a topic of discussion, what we need in this country to move to prosperity managers, men and women that can utilize our resources well to the benefits of Nigeria and the world. And Khalif Harun says, good morning, your guest and former minister has spoken well, but I want to ask him a question. Would he have taken his current stance and position which he has taken if he were still a minister under this administration? He should be reminded that he was part of all of it from the inception, but was never critical of them as he was doing at the moment. What informed this sudden turnaround? And lastly, Dominic Julia says, good morning. All right, your guest has spoken very well. My question to him is, what is the government of the day doing to rescue this country from kidnapping, starvation, corruption, abduction, etc.? And where are those people that protested against Goodluck that is not capable of ruling this country? Are they still alive, or so on and so forth? All right. Lastly, Zachariah John says, good morning. I like the analysis of the guest, but is it because he's out of their favor? That's why he's speaking like this. All right, thank you.
Okay, Barrister, you got that, right? Or you'd want me to?
Yeah, I think the summary of what I understood is just most of the people that ask the questions are still under this ostrich mentality. That's the generalization I talked about. Nigerians believe that, for them to be able to dismiss anything, there is inconsequential issues. I have spoken at length and I have gave a background to my position, which is very, very clear. So anybody who has listened, he will listen and understand that I took our campaign promises as the basis, the checklist of evaluating our performance. Even if I were a minister or not, it wouldn't have changed the situation. The issue of, will you have talked? Maybe it's a pardonable misconception, because anybody who knows me too well knows that, there is nobody I cannot talk to him. There is nobody. I can tell President Muhammadu Buhari today whatever I'm saying now. And in any case, my covenant with the president when he invited me to join him, the covenant we have with him was that he said, I know you are a man of very toxic opinion. I would want to appeal to you that at any point in time, always say it as it is, as I know you. So it will be a betrayal of trust for me to now go to maybe take the line of the reasoning and say, now I'm not a minister, so I don't have any business where it happened. I should keep quiet. No, I will not do that. That is what will be the betrayal of the covenant we have. But in any case, those people who have said, will I have spoken if I were a minister? Okay, they that are not ministers, have they been speaking? What has prevented them from speaking? Are they saying that what I said is not true? If it is true, why are they not spoken so that someone will keep quiet? This is the hypocrisy with whatever we do in this country as a religion. We have situation on our hands, and you are saying that, what you say is true, but you are not the one that should say it. Then you should take over. It is not joy for me to speak out. I'm speaking out with pains, because the people I related with, the people I mobilized, the people I campaign, on every day are asking, is it what you promised us? So for Madaki, who led that line of thinking, I will assure you that if you will take over from me, I will just keep quiet and live my life. I am a lawyer. I have a job that I will do until I die. So I'm even going to court. I started going to court. So don't worry. Come and do handing over. Tony, organize the handing over, hand over to Madaki. I will keep quiet and Madaki takes over. Because I was once a minister.
Barrister Solomon Dalong, I'd just like to hear your last line here before we wrap up the program. Hello, Barrister. Your last line. Okay,
my last line is that
when parting short. Yes.
Yeah, I again want to appeal to fellow countrymen and women that things are actually not the way we expected, but we should not lose hope and confidence in the country. That you travel with a car and have an accident does not mean you will no more enter any vehicle again. No. In fact, if somebody travels and dies, it is another car that will convey him to the hospital and ultimately to the burial ground. So life is like that. I believe that, if we come together in peace and unity and love, we will be able to build a country that we can be proud of. Nigeria does not belong to us alone. Nigeria belongs to the black world. If Nigeria has gotten it right, no white man would have put his knee on the neck of a black man in Minneapolis who was crying, and he became so frustrated in those of us living and was inviting his mother, who died 3 years ago, to come and help him. That can only happen to black people because Nigeria has not gotten it right. When we get it right, black people will work freely and happily everywhere in the world. I wish the country the best.
Barrister Solomon Dalong, thank you for coming on the program this morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And that will just be about the size of it on the program Perspectives today. Sharing thoughts with us on the program, Barrister Solomon Dalong, former Minister of Youth and Sports, with his opinion and, of course, his take on where Nigeria should be. And, you had him there. I'd like to thank him, too, that we got his time. Joy, thank you for connecting us with the people. And Wisdom, we thank you for putting us in the pictures. We'll come back with Perspectives tomorrow. Have a good day.